Well, hello, and welcome to a very special edition of our weekly Inspire Me segment. My name is Erin. This is Keezer.
Hi.
And we are coming to you from Dances with Wool, a local yarn store located just outside the city of Richmond in Central Virginia. And our weekly Inspire Me segment is all about giving you some making inspiration as you head into your weekend. But today, we wanted to do a special video for you. So we're not live the way you're used to seeing us be on Fridays, but we wanted to talk about shopping and attending a large scale fiber festival event because we have 2 bus trips coming up this spring. Festival season is getting ready to kick off here at the East Coast. And if you have never been to a big festival before, maybe you got a seat on our bus going to the Carolina Fiber Fest, which is next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And or
13th and 14th.
13th and 14th, or you're joining us for one of the Mac Daddy big time festivals every year, the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, which is in May. We wanted to give you some advice, especially if you've never been before. It can be really overwhelming to go to one of these events and there's 100, 200 more vendors there, and it's just a lot of wool fumes and all kinds of people, and it can get really
a
lot of stimulation, and it can get really overwhelming really quickly. And we hear all the time about people go for the first time and either come back with a random assortment of like, I have no idea what I bought, why I bought it, mismatched skeins.
Or they're so overwhelmed that they don't even actually end up making any purchases.
Which is fine. You can totally go to one of these big events and not spend any money beyond your admission ticket and have a great time because there's so much going on.
Definitely.
But if what your goal is to go and do some good mindful purchases, then we have got some tips and tricks to share with you this morning about how do you go about, how do you plan, and so that is what we have for you today. I'm going to talk about kind of main sort of basic considerations when you go to one of these large scale events. And then Keezer is going to share a really cool method she's developed over the years about how to plan her purchases so that she can stay focused and, or try at least to have kind of an outline, not a rigid plan, but like an outline about what am I looking for? What would I like to try to see if I could find? So things to consider. The biggest thing to begin with, of course, is your location. Is this an indoor festival? Is it an outdoor festival? Or is it a mix of both? So obviously, if you are indoors, like the Carolina Fiber Fest, which everything is in one big gigantic building on the North Carolina Fairgrounds, State Fairgrounds, then that's a very different proposition from something like Maryland Sheep and Wool. Well, while there are plenty of vendors in the barns, there's also plenty of vendors outside in tents as well. So for an outside festival, obviously you need to keep an eye on the weather.
Always seems to be
that always seems to be a factor for outdoor shows like Maryland and Rhinebeck and things. So keep an eye on the weather. Layers are typically your friends. So always good footwear, regardless whether you're inside, outside. Footwear is a big deal. You need to wear something that you are comfortable walking around in for hours. So there may or may not be a whole lot of places to sit down and rest.
Yeah, and if it's an outdoor festival, I think too, for me personally, I usually tend to wear some sort of boot, even if the weather's nice, because it's either muddy or it's dusty.
Mm-hmm.
And so just be prepared for that. If you have a pair of comfortable boots, I would suggest boots.
Yeah, absolutely.
For an outdoor fairgrounds kind of festival.
Absolutely. Definitely nothing like no sandal. Whether you're inside, outside, no sandals. Don't wear open-toed things. There's just a lot of people in these places.
Animals. A lot of animal stuff.
Deposits. But you get your toes stepped on in a booth. It's just not a great idea. So definitely give a thought to what are you going to have on your feet all day. In terms of carrying your purchases, this is a big thing. So I prefer something like a tote bag, whether that's a shoulder tote or a crossbody tote, something I can tuck in next to my body. A lot of people love the idea of a backpack, and it sounds great, right? You got both hands free. The problem is it's really easy to forget that you're sticking out like occupying that much more space than you normally do. And I watch it happen every year at Maryland. Somebody turns around in a booth and they knock over a person or they knock over a display because they just can't, you just forget that you've got this backpack on and you're sticking out that much further.
There can be some areas that get really crowded, and so maneuvering around with a backpack can be really challenging. So definitely a tote of some sort
I think
is usually a little bit better.
Usually a little bit easier. And then again, with weather things and being mindful of crowds, sometimes, an umbrella is great if it's raining outside, but it needs to be something you can fold up really teeny tiny. You don't want to be trying to jostle a big umbrella once you do go into a booth or a tent. Sometimes rain jackets or ponchos are a little bit easier at the end of the day to just deal with it that way. If it is an outdoor festival and it's not great weather, one of my big suggestions is I like to buy those really big, like 2 or 2.5 gallon Ziploc bags.
Oh, definitely.
Put some of those in your tote bag and put all your purchases in so that just in case you get caught in a downpour and your bag gets wet, everything in the bag is nice and safe because it's been sealed up.
Yeah. Another good thing for if the weather's going to be bad is put some dry clothes in your car or in the bus or wherever.
Shoes and socks in particular.
Definitely.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're going on one of our bus trips, you can absolutely, bring like a pair of boots that you can go around outside in potentially muddy conditions and leave like your dry sneakers on the bus.
Or
that is
Birkenstocks or something
totally
like that.
fine. And then switch out when you come back for the ride home. Definitely makes that
And if you're riding
more
one
pleasant.
of our buses, you can leave stuff on the bus.
Yes.
While you're shopping.
Yep.
You don't have to carry all of your stuff with you.
Yep.
So just
Absolutely.
so you know.
Absolutely. And at most of these festivals, there's like either a hand stamp or something. So if you exit to go out to your car, if you've come by yourself and you want to like take some purchases out to your car at the midpoint of the day and drop them off and whatever, most of the time re-entry is not a big deal. Just look for on your way out, make sure if you need a hand stamp or something that you get that. Because that can be a big thing too, is no matter how you've gotten there, you might want a break after a couple of hours.
I will sometimes actually bring my own food. You're probably
Yes.
going to
Yep.
talk about
Oh
that,
yeah. Yep.
And it's nice to either go back to the bus for lunch and just take a little bit of a break, or go back to your car and have a little
absolutely.
bit of a snack or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Food is a big thing. A lot of times the food at these events, it's like fair food. So if you've got any kind of dietary needs or restrictions, you definitely might want to plan on packing your own rather than relying on what's going to be there on the fairgrounds. In terms of paying for things, most of the time, everybody takes credit cards, of course, these days. Some people like to use exclusively cash because it's an easier way for them to budget. They're like, look, I have this much money, and when the cash is gone, I can't buy anything else. But if you are going to be planning on using your credit card, remember that a lot of times you have all these vendors who have come from all these different states who have now arrived at this festival. So it can look like your card's being used in Maryland, and then in Texas, and then in California, and then in Florida in the span of like 30 minutes. And sometimes that's enough for your credit card company to go, whoa, fraud, stop. So definitely be aware of that. You may want to give your credit card company a heads up, that you're going to an event like this where it's going to look like it's being used a lot of different places, or at the very least, make sure you've got your phone set up, your ringtone turned up, so that if they text you or call you to say, we think there's fraud on your account, you can go, no, it's fine. It's all good.
Just me.
It's just me. It's no big deal.
Just me.
So as always, we said before, the festival website or social media is going to be the best place for planning. Keezer will talk more about that when she talks about her method, but definitely don't go in blind. Get on the festival website, take a look around, look at the vendor list. A lot of times there's a map too, which you could even save to your phone, or maybe you could print out so that you've got one. Sometimes they'll give you one when you come in, but not always. So that's definitely
moving away from the
paper,
moving away from printing a lot of stuff.
So having it saved or having it printed for you to use is usually a good thing. And remember, there's all kinds of things to do besides shop. Like we said, you could go and only pay for your entry ticket and have a great day. There's demos and displays and contests and competitions. There might be live music. There's probably animals. So if you're thinking, I need more yarn, like I need a hole in the head, don't let that discourage you from going, because you can go and have a great day and have an awesome time and not buy anything.
I always love the dog trials.
Yes, at
That's
Maryland,
one of
they
my
do
favorites.
sheepdog. Yeah, they do sheepdog demos. And yeah, those are always a lot of fun, especially seems to happen about every other year that some sheep somewhere gets out of a pen and escapes onto the fairgrounds, and the dogs actually have to go really truly herd them and bring them back where they're supposed. That's always an exciting afternoon.
Yeah.
So Keezer, talk to us about how you plan your shopping. Like, you're going to go in, how do you think through what am I going to get, and how do you keep yourself on track?
Okay, so when I go to these big shows, I tend to get really overwhelmed because there's so much to look at, so many people around, and I just get really kerfluffled. I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't remember what I'm looking for. So I don't remember how many years ago, but I decided that, I don't do well if I go to the grocery store without a grocery list. I may, if I don't take the list with me, I may remember what I was supposed to get. I may not. I may come home with more things than I was supposed to buy, and that's okay. But so I definitely thought, okay, I need a list. And my creative side kind of got the better of me. And what I do is I make, I don't know what I'm going to call. I mean, is it a bulletin? Is it a list? Is it whatever? I'm not really sure what it is. But I'm going to Carolina Fiber Festival this year. And so I made this little booklet. And it is actually a trifold.
That's so cool.
So, and it's both, and I have stuff on both sides.
I love this so much.
And it is, if you want to make one, it is cardstock. It is 9 inches by 5 inches. And on the 9-inch wide, you score it at 3 inches and at 6 inches. So you have 3 sections. And for me, this is almost like a little remembrance even from going to the festival.
It's like a little souvenir.
Right. So I have these, and I meant to bring in a stack of them and I forgot. But I have a stack of them from years past, and it's a lot of fun to kind of go back and look at them and see what I was thinking about 2 or 3 years ago. So I always do a little one that's the front, that's just the festival. And then what I do is I go into my favorites on Ravelry, or into my library that has patterns that I have purchased but haven't collected. Yeah, preferably let's go into the library of the ones that I've already purchased. And I pick a handful of things that I would like to do. And I try and vary the things that I choose. So I'll choose some accessories, some sweaters. I try and vary the weights of yarn. So what I would be looking for. So if I would be looking for fingering weight or DK or whatever it is. And so like this year, one of the ones that I chose is I want to do these Hermione's Everyday Socks. And so what I did was I have a little teeny tiny printer that prints off pictures from my camera.
Yeah.
And so I screenshotted off of Ravelry. So I have to give credit. These are not my pictures. And printed off the picture of the picture from the pattern of Hermione's Everyday Socks. And then what I do is I write down all the information. So I write down what kind of yarn it is, how much I need. I will write down a few things about the pattern itself so that might inform my decision. So I know these are going to be cuff down. They have a garter stitch edge slip stitch heel. And then I also kind of make some little notes to myself. So I was thinking, I really need a pair of navy socks. I don't want to knit a pair of navy socks, but I'm going to do it. I need a pair of navy socks. So I put on there navy so that I would remember. And I just kind of do this with a few other things. I have 2 sweaters this year, and I have a pair of socks, and I have a cowl. And I put down the name of the pattern, who it's by, the yarn weight that I need, the yardage that I need, any pertinent information. I might put down the yarn that the pattern, the original pattern that the designer did the pattern in, so that maybe I can look for something that's similar, maybe similar in what the fibers are. So if it's a cotton linen blend, I'll put down that the original was in a cotton linen blend. So I'll do that. So then so I have a few things that I know I can look for. I leave some extra space around on the little areas so that I can take notes if I need to.
And what's great about it is that it's all printed and in your hand, because of course you could get on your phone on Ravelry while you're standing in a booth and be like, I love this yarn, what could I make with it? But that's frustrating under the best circumstances. And when you're in a booth and it's crowded and there's people and noise, that's the last thing you want to do, is be trying to scroll Ravelry.
Right. And also sometimes you don't get the best cell signal there.
Right.
So, good old fashioned paper and pen sometimes is the way to go. So I have my 4 patterns on here of the items that I'm going to look. But then I also have another kind of area that I kind of call it to check out. And what it is that Erin kind of touched on this a little bit, of going to the festival's website and pulling up the list of vendors. And, you can do this at night when you're just kind of doom scrolling, look through and look through the vendors, because I have made a note that, I've got a handful of vendors here that I want to go see their booth.
Yes.
And so I will, just
Your
check them off
list.
and go check it out. I don't really have anything specific, but I just know that I would like to go and look at them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. And then I have, you could also do a section if you're looking for items that are not yarn.
Right.
So maybe you need some notions, maybe you need some new needles, maybe you need sock blockers, maybe you need
a project bag.
Project bag, something like that. And so, you could kind of make notes that that's something that you're looking for. So in a way, this is your grocery list. You're going to go, and it's just going to help you stay focused. I should have mentioned at the beginning that it is, so the other thing that I do is consider my budget. And I know nobody wants to talk about budget, but it is this is a way for me to kind of help myself not go crazy, to stay focused. And that's not to say that I'm not going to purchase something kind of spur of the moment, that my friends and I are going to be standing in a booth and everybody wants to do the same project as a knit along, then I'll do that. But it's just a way to kind of narrow my scope.
Be mindful.
Yeah. Again, I get a little overwhelmed by all of the people, and it's a lot of squirrel moments where I'm, kind of turning my head and looking at what everybody else is talking about. And it is a great opportunity because you see so much
in person.
And in addition to this, you will have your phone with you. Take pictures. So one of the things is that we talked a little bit about that the festivals may not have paper maps anymore, but they may have a QR code at the gate. So look for the QR code that you might be able to download the map onto your phone. A lot of vendors these days may not actually have business cards anymore. I do tend to kind of collect the business cards, but if they don't, a lot of them will have QR codes that will link to their information, so that you'll have that if you want to come back to it. Because a lot of times you see something and you're like, wow, I really like that, but it's not on my plan. It's not in my budget
for right now.
For right now.
Right.
And, I know that the vendors would love it if, 6 months, 8 months from now, you actually reach back out to them and say, I saw you at Maryland and I saw this yarn and I really would love to get it now. And so that, just if you just take notes and are
take pictures
and just kind of be a little bit organized about it. Some of the other things too that are a consideration, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but is this the event that you're going to? Are you going to be there for one day, or you're
Right.
going to be there for 2 days?
Right.
And when even if I'm there for only one day, I will try and get there early, and I will take a lap and go look at everything and not buy anything, but just go look. And then take a little bit of a break and then go back in and have it be the purchasing lap, if you will. So
Right.
I take a looking lap and then I take a purchasing lap.
So then that way you're not in like the first or second booth,
Right.
buy something, and then get 20 booths further down and
Right.
go, shoot, this would have been better than what yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's to kind of go through and get a broad scale overview will help you narrow down and help you make the choices that you want to make for whatever it is that you're looking for. Yeah, so there's that. And then the only other thing is that the great thing about this little pamphlet is that it will fit right in a wallet. So, you know, I've got one of these long wallets. It'll fit right in. It's about the size of a dollar bill. But what I've started doing recently is the little snack size bags. It fits perfectly in the little snack size bag with a pen.
Look at that.
And so I just
Have your little packet.
have this little packet, and it works out. You know, if it's raining, it keeps it dry. But so that's just a little trick. Stick it in a snack size bag, and it keeps it safe, and you're ready to go.
Love it. I love it. This is, Keyser first showed us this little method that she uses a few years ago, and I'm just like, this is the best idea. Now ask me if I've made one for myself. No, but it is the best idea. I really think you have to keep in mind the one big festival I go to every year is Maryland, and I'm volunteering.
Right.
So it's a different, I'm in a slightly different
Yeah.
category, I love this concept.
It is very helpful. And, you know, again, you can kind of take notes on it. You can actually, like, when you find it, you can write down the booth number. You can write down
like on your
vendor.
your looking lap, if you spot something you think might work, you can make a little note on it, you know, about go back to this booth and look.
Exactly. So, and then the other thing when you do make purchases, one of the things that I do that I have found is really helpful is, you know, we all kind of have all of our purchases and we go home and it's like the Halloween candy. We put it all out and look at it all and sort it all. Is I will actually write on the belly band of the yarn, you know, Rhinebeck 2026, and I'll write down the name of the project that I want to do it. Then I will also then put it in a Ziploc bag
with
all
the-
together
right.
with by project. That helps me because there definitely were times early on when I would go and I would purchase things and I wouldn't remember what I had
Yeah,
purchased.
that's always fun. You pull something out of your stash and you go,
What did I buy this for?
what did I buy this for?
Right. So, you know, just again, so that you're being mindful. I mean, we all know the amount of time that goes into making the items that we make and the amount of resources that go into purchasing the items, the yarn to make the project. You know, so if you're a little bit more mindful, then you're being a good steward of what you've purchased.
Absolutely. Love it.
So
hopefully this helps. Like I said, whether you're coming with us to Carolina Fiber Fest or Maryland, whether you're going on your own, whether you're heading to a different fiber festival, we hope that this is helpful for you. And we hope that you will continue to follow us. We do these different weekly Inspire Me segments every week, and hope that you are enjoying your making as we all launch into spring. Here we go, folks. Winter's finally ending.